It worked. We've been pulling the crackers in the studio. Gary Glitter on stage at the International Centre in Bournemouth. Of course, you go across a time zone to get down to Bournemouth. Still to come tonight, the making of the Grateful Dead video for A Touch of Grey, and of course at 1:15, the best of 16 years of Whistle Test. But first, we're going back almost 12 months to sample life on the road with U2. It's a film the band made themselves during the first part of their USA tour of 1987, a tour which in many ways established them as the hottest band in the world. It's a kind of snapshot in detail of life behind the scenes, directed for the band by Barry Devlin. So inside the bubble is U2, outside it's America.
Got a good sound on that.
Outside in America, U2 on the road in the States circa 1987. Well, surely one of the big comeback stories of last year was that of the Grateful Dead, who had the first top 20 single of their career with A Touch of Grey. Now, in addition to its relevance to us tonight, one of the big factors in the success of that record was the video that was made to promote it. This is the way that video was made. A Touch of Grey, a touch of Uncle John's band about it as well, I thought. The Grateful Dead, and the making of a great video too. Well now, as you know, tonight is the very last Old Grey Whistle Test, and we've come back to where the programme started in 1971. We're back in a tiny little studio on the 4th floor of Television Centre, Presentation B. And in fact, it looked very much like this, didn't it, when the series started just over 16 years ago. We've got the old symbols, we've dug out the badges and got all the bits and pieces together, including a rundown, a kind of look back at some of the best of Whistle Test from over those years. I can promise you some great music during the next hour and 3/4. We've got Elton John, Ry Cooder, John Lennon, Little Feat, The Wailers, ZZ Top, Led Zeppelin, Talking Heads, Steely Dan, Fleetwood Mac, The Police, The Eagles, The Long Riders, Suzanne Vega, the Robert Cray Band. In actual fact, I mean, the problem for us has been what to leave out, not what to put in. So it's a kind of skimming stone through some of the highlights of Whistle Test during the last 16 years. And we're starting with Cat Stevens, a performance recorded in this studio during the third programme broadcast in 1971, all those years ago. But first of all, run the opening titles. Uncomplicated by Elvis Costello and the Attractions. Well, that's it. The end of Whistle Test, in many ways, I suppose, the end of an era. I do hope it's not too long before another television programme comes along and gives us the opportunity of discovering as fresh talents people such as Suzanne Vega, the Bundu Boys, and ZZ Top, Robert Cray and the band, all of whom, like many others we've shown tonight, had their first broadcasts on Whistle Test over the years. And I hope we get the chance, too, to rediscover talents like Steely Dan and the Eagles in the future as well. It's also relevant and worth mentioning some of the Whistle Test offshoots that we've seen on the air during the years. Sight and Sound in Concert, Rock Goes to College, Late Night in Concert, many rock biographies, of course. Even Live Aid was presented by this Whistle Test unit. So what to end with? Well, as I mentioned earlier, Freebird by Leonard Skinner was a very strong contender. We've had so many letters about that track over the years. But we've decided to end with a piece of music very strongly associated with the programme. In fact, it was first seen on Whistle Test in 1978. It rocketed into the LP charts at that time and stayed there for over 5 years. You probably know already. It's Meatloaf and Bat Out of Hell. Thank you very much for watching on behalf of the production staff and all the presenters, and see you soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Alma. Bye.
Ba 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 was the whistle test, that was. And this is the weather forecast. Rain already across Ireland and into western parts of England and Wales by morning will spread quickly east to most places by midday. The heaviest rain is likely in Wales and the southwest, where it'll be very misty. During the afternoon, drier, brighter weather will reach Northern Ireland, Scotland and some northern parts of England and Wales. Although it will start quite cold in the east, it will become very mild again, with highest temperatures up to 13 degrees Celsius, that's 55 Fahrenheit in the south. It'll be quite windy, with some gales later in the northwest. That's the weather picture. It's also the end of our programmes for the moment here on 2. Radio 2, of course, is on the air all through the night. Patrick Lunt is broadcasting at the moment. He'd be very pleased to have your company. But from all the night owls here at the Television Centre in London working on BBC2 tonight, this is David Allen wishing you a very good night and a very happy New Year.